your website's not converting because you have a problem with your social media presence or because you don't have the latest and greatest logo. The real reason your website's not converting is because of your messaging. The good news is this is something that's super easy to tweak, and I'm sharing some simple actionable strategies that you can implement on your website today. The first messaging shift I want you to look at is making sure that you're focusing on your outcome and not so much on the features. This is a little bit easier said than done, and I know it's one in particular that tends to trip people up because as a business owner, we get excited to share what we're doing and all the features and everything that you're going to get. But that's not what actually is drawing in your customer. What's drawing them in is the transformation that they're going to go through. The truth is, people don't buy courses just to buy courses. They don't work with coaches. They're not buying templates. What they're buying is the outcome. They're buying the result. They're buying the promise of whatever it is that your product or service delivers. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't share all the features. It just means that we have to shift our messaging so that we're not necessarily leading with this. And I'll give you a couple of examples to consider. All right, so instead of saying you get 8 coaching calls, 3 bonuses, and lifetime access, which is great. Again, there's nothing wrong with saying these things, but it's not exactly exciting, right? It's not what's going to draw people in. You're instead going to want to focus on the outcome and the transformation. So you might say, get clear on your message and start booking dream clients who are excited to pay you. Another example, you'll get 20 plug and play email templates for your launch sequence. Again, I'm not saying don't include this. You're going to want to include this in a different section. Just don't lead with this. Instead, you might say something like, confidently hit send on emails that actually get opened, read, and clicked without staring at a blank page for hours. Another example is just explaining what's in the course. This course includes 6 modules, 12 video lessons, and worksheets. Or you might focus, like I said, on the outcome. Learn how to write website copy that sounds like you and converts like crazy. I mean, just think about it. Which one sounds more exciting? Learn how to write website copy that sounds like you and converts like crazy, or the 6 modules and video lessons and worksheets, right? That's kind of a no-brainer. One of them sounds way more exciting and way more enticing than the other. The second one is still important, but think of it as more like a supporting actor than like the main event. People still want to know both pieces of information. Like I said, these are just messaging shifts. So the shift that we're making is that we're making sure that we're leading with the transformation, we're leading with the promise, we're leading with the outcome first, and the actual deliverables and what they actually get is just further down the page. If you need help writing this part, you might want to journal. Like a simple prompt is, what is the transformation here? Why does this matter to my client? Why do they care? Why do they want to lose weight, right? Like, is it vanity reasons? Is it health reasons? Dig deep on why this matters to your client, and then you'll make them feel like you are speaking directly to them. Speaking of speaking to them, this leads us into our second messaging shift, which is mirroring their language. At the end of the day, everybody just wants to feel seen, especially your dream client. They want to feel seen. When you use their words and their language to describe their struggles, to describe their pain points, they're going to really feel like you get them. This is going to help establish trust, and they're going to feel more likely to connect with you and like they want to work with you. If you sound like ChatGPT, if you sound bland and boring, if you sound robotic, then you're going to lose them. They're not going to connect with that at all because you don't sound like a real person that they can work with and connect with. I mentioned this tip briefly in my last video. If you have not seen it, definitely go watch it after this. I'll have the whole playlist linked in the description box below. But basically, you want them to feel like you crawled inside their brain and extracted their exact thoughts. So how do we do this? We do this by using their language, things that they are thinking, that they are feeling, that they are saying, not a job listing on LinkedIn. I always think that these things go best with examples. So we're going to go in with a couple examples for you here. So let's say you're a business coach for overwhelmed entrepreneurs. Don't say, I help entrepreneurs streamline operations and optimize their business infrastructure for maximum efficiency. This may be what you do, and that is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that per se, but it sounds a little bit like you're writing a LinkedIn post that nobody's going to read. How about instead of that, we say something like, you're doing everything yourself and it's exhausting. You want to stop spinning your wheels and finally feel like your business isn't running you. That sounds like a real thought that your client is having in their head, right? Like at 10 o'clock at night when they can't sleep, these are the things that your client is thinking. And when you're repeating that language and mirroring it, they're going to feel much more connected to you. So your action step for this, your homework, if you haven't done this yet, is go into your DMs, talk to your clients, pull from actual testimonials. You can send surveys as well, whatever you can to get more information on what your target audience is struggling with and how they're phrasing it, the better. One easy way you can do this, and one way I do this in my business, is I have a questionnaire for my Facebook group. And one of the questions that I ask is, what is your biggest struggle? And I document it. I actually have a whole list in my notes app of every single answer I've ever gotten from someone who's joined the group. And I know exactly what the biggest struggle is, or like at least like some common themes that people say and how they're saying it too. I know you're not going to want to do this, but definitely consider it. One other way you can go about this is literally just picking up the phone. Yes, like actually pick up the phone. Don't send a text message. Pick up the phone and call your ideal client. I actually did this when I started my business way back when. I sent a few emails to some acquaintances that I had, and I asked them some questions, or I asked them if they had like 15 minutes to jump on the phone with me and just chat and kind of like pick their brain and see what they were struggling with. And this helped me immensely when I first started my business and I was just crafting services, because I actually got to speak to my ideal client and hear from them what they were struggling with and how I could potentially help. This was a no pitch thing, by the way. I don't recommend that you get on the phone and then pitch somebody, but people actually do want to help each other, especially small business owners. Bottom line is that if you can talk to someone, whether via a survey or a DM, it's a treasure trove of information, and you can use this and use their language to write so much copy, whether it's on your website or your sales page or your emails. This is going to help you so much in your messaging. Pro tip, definitely keep a voice of my customer file, whether you do that with notes, Google Docs, somewhere. Keep that so that when you're crafting new offers or you're speaking to them on social media, you can reference this and know exactly how you can step in and help. Once you start implementing this and you're using phrases that your customer uses and you actually talk like they do in your headlines and your subheadlines and your callouts, that's really where the magic starts to happen. The next messaging shift that you can make today is to get laser focused on your target audience. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go on and on about niching down, but we know that if you're talking to everybody, that you're actually talking to nobody. At the end of the day, messaging that converts has one ideal, perfect client in mind, or at least it doesn't have to be like Sally with the whole name and, age and what she drinks. It doesn't have to go that deep, but at least an idea of who this exact person is. So here's a couple examples for you. If you are a business coach, you don't need to say, I help people grow their business and find balance in their life, because what kind of business and what kind of people and what does balance even mean, right? Like, I think that one is definitely a great example of one that you can niche down further, because there are so many types of businesses. There's your small business owners, there's small teams, there's Fortune 500 companies, right? Like, that's really vague. Instead, you might say something like, I help burnt out service providers. So now we know it's specifically service providers simplify their offers and start making consistent 5K months without working 24/7. So now we know this is a service provider. If they're working towards 5K, then this is a service provider probably just starting out in their business, right? Without working 24/7 and they're burnt out, maybe they're even juggling a day job. This is really zeroing in and focusing on who you help. Let's say you are a branding designer. Something that I might see is like custom brand design for entrepreneurs, creatives, and anyone ready to elevate their brand. So this is fine. Again, it's just broad and it doesn't really speak to anyone. It's just like, hey, whoever is here and available, like, pick me, hire me, I'll help you. Instead, you might be really specific and say something like strategic branding for interior designers who want a refined editorial look that attracts luxury clients. Now that is very specific. If I am a luxury interior designer and I need graphic design and I see this, I'm going to be like, yeah, she gets me. She understands this industry. Like, this is the person that I want to work with. When I started my business, I specifically started working with lifestyle brands because that's where my experience was. I came from a magazine editorial background and I had a lot of experience in the fashion industry, beauty, and specifically luxury lifestyle. So I knew that this was a niche that I'm very, very familiar with, that I've worked with a ton, and that these are the kind of people I help out. That's totally different from, say, I'm going to do copywriting for a bank or copywriting for a startup, right? There's a difference. And it really helped in the beginning to be like, yes, I totally understand the interior design world. Yes, I understand the wedding planning world. And people felt more comfortable working with me because of that background and that experience. All right, let's do one more example. Let's say you're a wellness coach. You could say, helping people feel their best through mindful movement and intuitive eating, which could literally be for anybody, right? Instead, you might say, helping postpartum moms feel strong in their bodies again with short, realistic workouts and zero food guilt. Now, this, if you are a postpartum mom, then this is speaking directly to you. You're going to know, okay, she gets me. She understands where I'm at in my life. She understands the struggles. It's not just a generic one size fits all. Your homework for this is to go review your website, go to your homepage, your sales page, and ask yourself, would my dream client know that this is for them? Am I speaking to them clearly? And is it really obvious that I am the perfect person to help them? Now, I know these are 3 simple tips, but if you are ready to completely make over your messaging, watch this video that's on your screen right now, and I'll show you how you can do so in as little as 1 day.